One bad game at one international tournament, heck, in the first game of one international tournament, does not define an entire prospect's profile and their career and their future success as an NHL talent. That is not what I'm going to go out there and say here. But what I will go out there and start talking about, and I'll say it like that, talking about, not going out there and establishing, because talking about kind of implies that there is a conversation to be had about this player. Let's talk about Yaroslav Askarov, the top goaltending prospect of the Nashville Predators, drafted 11th overall by the team at the 2020 NHL Entry Draft. Now, the reason we're talking about him here today is mostly because of the body of work that he has done in the past few seasons, but with a whole bunch of recency bias thrown in there because he played yesterday for Team Russia against the Swedes. He also has had himself a season this year, which we'll get into, but Yaroslav Askarov, as we noted, 11th overall 2020 NHL Entry Draft, he was a guy that was supposed to be like the best goaltending prospect since Andrei Vasilevskiy, heck, maybe even since Carey Price, because Vasilevskiy wasn't really seen as that top-of-the-line goaltender when he was drafted in 2012. This guy, Askarov, was better than Spencer Knight. He was in the same territory as that Jesper Wallstedt who went a year later. And in a draft class that was as stacked as the 2021, with guys like Lafreniere, Byfield, Stützle, Raymond, Rossi, all these guys that were top-of-the-line players, Yaroslav Askarov was that goaltender in the class that just stood above and beyond everybody else. In fact, just to hammer home the point how good Yaroslav Askarov was supposed to be, I was one of those guys that said in his videos multiple times that if Yaroslav Askarov was drafted somewhere in the top 3, like he was taken 1st or 2nd overall or 3rd overall, I wouldn't question it. Like, yes, it would not be the pick that I would have made personally, but I would understand why any team in that position would make that pick. He was so highly touted, so above and beyond everybody else that we have seen in all goaltending prospects heading into the drafts since those Carey Price and Andrei Vasilevskiy-like guys, that Askarov was seen as the best bet of all bets to make on anybody with a franchise label of potential. It's just, he didn't go that high. He went 11th, even though he was projected to going a lot higher by a lot of the scouting outlets. TSN and Craig Button had him at number 6, so that's kind of where that conversation comes from in one respect. But when it comes to Yaroslav Askarov and the way that he has performed recently, let's go over yesterday's Team Russia versus Team Sweden game. If you watched the earlier video in the show about how Red Wings prospects for Team Sweden and Team Canada are doing their thing, you would know that Yaroslav Askarov did not have the greatest game in this game against Sweden. It is ultimately a 6-3 Swedish victory where Yaroslav Askarov gave up 3 of the opening goals and then did not suit up for the third period because they gave the net to their other goaltender instead, who really didn't perform all too well either. Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate seeing Igor Guskov go in there and let in the goals that he did, but 6-3 for Sweden is the end score right here. Even though Matvei Michkov went out there and tried to do his best to bring everybody back in it, Sweden just kind of pried everything open afterwards. So Yaroslav Askarov had himself a performance in this one that wasn't really all too great. He had 16 shots on goal against, he let in 3 in the 40 minutes of ice time that he played. He made 13 saves, so he went out there with an 8-1 save percentage in his first game, which of course I'm not going to go out there and judge the entirety of a prospect's profile because of one game at the beginning of a tournament, but it wasn't really all that great. And the goals that he let in, okay, one of them, the first one, Oskar Olausson, an absolute snipe on the power play. It goes short side, it goes right by Askarov. That's not really that bad. You see NHL goaltenders give up goals like that all the time. The second goal, though, Simon Edvinsson on the breakaway. This one was kind of fishy. Now, I do love Simon Edvinsson. If you're a Red Wings fan, you saw the previous video, you know how much I love this guy and am expecting the world out of him. But this goal wasn't really a good one for Askarov because Edvinsson comes in on the breakaway, he fakes backhand, he goes forehand, he shoots at 5-hole. The puck actually deflects off of Askarov's stick, and it bounces off of his stick, hits his leg, and then trickles over the goal line. You could see that Askarov's stick bounces very vibrantly after the puck hits the stick, which kind of says to me, if Yaroslav Askarov just kind of held his stick a little bit tighter, maybe the puck doesn't bounce off of the stick in the way that it did, and maybe that's not a goal that goes in. Just a concern to bring up, because last year during the World Juniors, one of the biggest things that Askarov was exhibiting was the fact that he would lose his goal stick like once or twice a game. There would be moments where there was a shot in front or there was a player in front and Askarov drops his stick and it goes into the corner and he's playing without a stick for an extended amount of time. This happened a lot, and the stick problems with Askarov were something that a lot of people were very intrigued by. So seeing this goal by Edvinsson where the puck bounces off his stick in a very loose kind of way, where it's like, yeah, you could tell he wasn't really holding onto the stick as hard as he could have because the bounce from the stick was pretty significant. That's just kind of one of the things that was brought up there. And of course, you never want to see the 5-hole goals go in on guys like this. Guskov, the next goaltender, let in 2 more, so it definitely wasn't great for Team Russia. And then you have yourselves what was the 3rd goal scored on Askarov. It was Emil Andre who at the point takes the puck right in front of the screen. He shoots it through everybody and it goes right in. This one was a really bad goal too for Askarov because yes, he didn't see it, but he was going down as the puck was getting shot towards him, and his arms were kind of pushed outwards. It's like he was flapping his wings, He wasn't really in the square goaltending position, which is why as he's going down, it's so miraculous that the puck actually goes right through his armpits since his arms are up and since he's going down at the same time. It was the perfectly placed shot by Emil Andre that gets right through and makes it 3-0 over here. This was not a good goal for Yaroslav Askarov. I think Ray Ferraro said it best, that he just kind of lost sight of it. He was really trying to look through everybody, trying to see what was going on, and because he was looking over a few guys, he didn't really see the shot come through, and as he was going down, it just went right by him. Definitely not the good elite vision that we've noticed out of Yaroslav Askarov throughout the past few seasons when he was draft eligible. But this conversation is very interesting to have, because when it comes to Askarov, last year he had himself a 9.14 and a 2.50 in the 6 World Junior games that he played. He was 3-3. The year before that, in his draft eligibility year, he had himself an 8.77 and a 2.71 in 5 games played. He was 2-1, so he had a positive record, but the numbers were not great, and just the way he was playing was not really all too great either. So far, when it comes to Askarov and his World Junior play throughout the past 3 seasons, it hasn't really been in that same caliber of a Jesper Wallstedt or a Spencer Knight, other guys who are kind of touted as the top goaltending prospects in the NHL at the moment. Askarov, who is considered to being the best by some, second best by others, has not really had that same level of success at all on the international under-20 stage. You then go over to his regular league play this season. Last year in the KHL, in 9 games played, Askarov had a 9.51 save percentage and a 1.21 goals against. Beast numbers right there. In the VHL, the second-tier league, he had a 9.23 save percentage and a 2.12 goals against, so he was still pretty good in the second-tier league last year as an 18-year-old. Take a look at Askarov this year, though. In the KHL, 5 games played, he has himself a 1-1-2 record, which isn't great, but he also has a 9.04 save percentage and a 2.01 goals against average. Yaroslav Askarov has not put up a 9.0-something save percentage in any regular Russian league, going back to 2018-19, playing for SKA Varyagi in the playoffs, where he had an 8.98 save percentage. That was in the MHL. That was 3 seasons ago. Who really cares about that? The guy was 16 years old playing in a regular junior league. Statistically speaking, Yaroslav Askarov this season has been a shade of his former self, and it's kind of been consistent. Even in the VHL, the guy's at a 9.13 save percentage and a 2.20 goals against average in 5 games. Now, his record is not terrible, a 1-1-2 record in the KHL and a 2-2-1 record in the VHL, but still, just seeing the cold hard numbers behind it, Yaroslav Askarov is playing worse than he did last season, and I'm gonna be honest, man, his 2022 World Junior debut yesterday was not great in particular either. And again, I love Yaroslav Askarov as a prospect. Just seeing the athleticism, seeing the skills and the capabilities throughout the previous few seasons, it's been an absolute treat. And I've been making so many videos waxing poetic about how good Askarov is and how good this guy is going to be in the NHL, how he's going to be a Vezina winner one day. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. He's got all this great stuff going for him. It's just this season in the KHL, the VHL, etc., and the World Juniors, oh man, it hasn't been good. In fact, his World Juniors performance has never really been in that tier where a lot of fans can unanimously agree, say, yeah, he was fantastic, like he was freaking amazing right there. Even the previous year, where he was at a pretty solid 9.14, it wasn't a particularly noteworthy goaltending performance, especially compared to the expectations for this guy. So, talk to me in the comments, let your thoughts about Yaroslav Askarov. Do you notice the same things that I've noticed over here? Has it really been just a coincidence when it comes to how poorly he's been performing in certain nights? Or is this a sign of a bigger picture? Because honestly, I'm inclined to believe it's likely coincidence, but I mean, the comment section exists for a reason, right? Talk to me in the comments, let your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this Rosén 99. And bye.